So a potential new client asked me for a proof of concept of how the virtual hard drive service works. So let me basically, I kind of recreated based on the information from our phone call how things work. So let me demonstrate this out how this works. So this would be the virtual hard drive service here in Clyde. That basically sits behind me. And so via Hamachi, you see it's connected to all the other computers. Now, you was telling me that you have a machine in the workshop that controls the lathe and drill presses. You have a machine in the basement that cuts vinyl for you. And of course, this is your primary computer. Most of the time, it's sitting on the kitchen table. And then this would be like your buddy in Montana, who helps you out with G code problems for your lathe and drill presses and your vinyl cutter. So, how it works. So, once I have it all hooked up, it's really going to be straightforward and simple. But again, if you're not knowledgeable with how computers work, it's probably going to be one of those things I'm going to have to help you for a little bit until you figure out how it works for you. So, from your laptop sitting at the kitchen table, once I've got it all hooked up, if you wanted to make folders for each of the machines, you could do that. So, it would be like new folder, and you would call this lathe. And because you're connected to the virtual hard drive, it now also creates it on the virtual hard drive, and then it will eventually drop it into these other machines because they are also connected to the virtual hard drive. So there's lathe. So let's do your drill press and new folder. This would be like the drill press. And you can see, looking at the virtual hard drive server and then looking at your other machines, you can see those folders are populating through. That's how a virtual private network works. That's what a real one is, not one of those fake ones where like Nord and Shark, Surfshark and that. But that's what it is. So how does this look on your buddy's computer in a clear, different other state? So let's go look at his folder. And I've already got him hooked up, and you see they're there. So he could then go to, if you had G codes in those and you needed to have them tweaked, he can open up the G codes on his machine and go from there. And note, I intentionally did this with Ubuntu. I have no idea what your buddy's computer is. It could be Windows 11, it could be Windows XP for all I know. But I did it as a Ubuntu to show you that it is possible. So the other thing you can do here, like I said, if you wanted to drop a file, so let me go grab a file here, and we'll just grab one. And we'll call, yeah, this is a big file. So we're going to copy that, go into your virtual hard drive, and drop it in there. And watch, it'll populate across all of them once it goes. So paste. There we go. So see, it went from that computer to the virtual hard drive to the other computers. And then if I close and refresh this one, I'm not as familiar with Ubuntu as I should be. But if I opened it up again, go into the connection, you see it's there. So that's in general how it works. It works just like any other networking that you may be familiar with at home, but this just now spans out across different internet service provider connections. So that's the advantage of it. And like I said, then your buddy, who helps you, he can make changes to whatever files that need to be changed, and then drop them into those particular folders, and you would be able to see them on your laptop. Of course, I could see it, but I'm not going to look at it unless there is a problem. And then it would also show up in your other two machines. So, in concept, that's how it works. Like I said, I've got a couple of other clients who use it primarily for backup purposes, and that's perfectly fine. I have one client who does interactive, like I've kind of showed you here. And so it can work. The only downside to this I've seen, because this is a file sharing system, not an application management system. You both can't be in the same file at the same time. That's the only downside I see out of this. But for your small operation, there's like 2 people, 3 people. From what I've gathered from a phone call, this should not be a problem. And if you need to get into a file and someone else is in it, you can like call them and say, hey, I need in this file real quick. So proof of concept of how it works, it's really not difficult. It just is a slight learning curve if you've never done it this way, but it does work. Works on XP, works on 7, works on 11, works on 10, and it does work on Ubuntu. That was probably the hardest thing I had to set up because I've never done Ubuntu one before. So there you go, proof of concept, how it works.